Greetings and welcome back to Room 303 in our chats with Emily as we are calling our readings through the 1,775 poems of Emily Dickinson in the Johnson edition. We turned now to poem 39, It Did Not Surprise Me. This one is maybe another Sue poem. Go back to our discussion of poem 14. Consider it that Sue and Emily's brother Austin will marry in 1858. And that's the year that we believe this poem was written. So maybe there's some interesting stuff going on, some separation anxiety that's going to be played into this poem. Now, our assumption is that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net down that left-hand side, Chats with Emily, our playlist. I'm hopeful that you've already studied with us the introductory lecture, and as well, we've now worked up through the first 38 poems, just finishing by such and such. Now, there is some interesting background information here. In a letter, Emily will say in 1861, quote, "I think it's sad to have a friend. It's sure to break the heart so. And yet, if it had none, the heart must seek another trade." There is some interesting question about the value of friendship for Emily. They're the source of her greatest joy and her greatest pain, especially when they are lost. She will in fact say, all one needs to know of hell is the departure of a loved one. Let's enjoy now poem 39. It did not surprise me, so I said or thought. She will stir her pinions and the nest forgot, traverse broader forests, build in gayer boughs, breathe in air more modern, God's old-fashioned vows. This but a birdling. What, and if it be one within my bosom had departed me? This was but a story, what and if indeed there were just such coffin in the heart instead. Now, a number of the poems that we read of Emily's are in fact her own private musings about potentialities, what might be coming in my future. There is an argument to be made that if this poem is really a reflection on what would it be like to lose Sue, then there will be another childhood friend, a girlhood friend of Emily's, Abaya Root, who will maybe be the birdling that's being referenced here. In other words, this may be a poem where a comparison of the loss of two friends is in fact what's going on. Notice she'll begin with, "It did not surprise me, so I said." The fallibilist epistemological position, go back to our introductory lecture to understand better that language. In other words, the willingness to be uncertain, fallibilist, to be uncertain about what one knows, about what am I going to feel like in the future if I lose somebody close to me. Obviously, if this is a Sue poem, and the marriage of Sue to Austin could be in the back or the front of her mind. That is to say, how will I deal with it? But then she goes back to the loss possibly of, or the absence of, a friend of hers, again, Abaya Root. And she says it this way, it didn't surprise me, so I said or thought. She will stir her pinions. Notice more bird imagery happening here in the idea of flight. My Emily group pointed out that the word pinions and the word opinions comes very close together. That's a brilliant insight. There was no scholar I could find that made this observation, but my Emily group wanted to point this out, and I love that. She will stir her pinions and the nest forgot. And then notice your three, your trinity. Traverse broader forests, build in gayer boughs, in other words, leave. Breathe in ear, and why ear is capitalized will always be interesting. More modern, God's old-fashioned vows. By the way, do you remember in poem 12 already, lest I shall behold old-fashioned, I shall be old-fashioned, she says, thinking about that frock she's going to choose to wear. This use of the word old-fashioned in God's old-fashioned vows. In other words, the idea is that whoever it is that's left the nest is going to go off on their own, somehow going or transcending beyond God's old-fashioned vows. Back as she's reflecting when it happened the first time, this was but a birdling. In other words, a not really important bird. Here again, it could be Abaya Root that's being referenced. What and if it be, again, this idea of speculating on the future. One within my bosom, in other words, one I'm really close to. Here, this makes us think of Sue, had departed me. This was but a story, as in speculative. What and if indeed, so we're back to this what and if construction, there were just such coffin in the heart instead. Notice it's interesting, it's the heart and not my heart. And why the use of the word coffin? And to what degree is she actually speculating on the death that would be not so much a death of a person, but the death of a friendship? Well, there's, I think, good reason to maybe think this poem is speculating on what will it be like to live without my Sue. Could be an easy reading, I think, of the poem. I was able somehow to get beyond the loss of by a root, an old friend, but what about Sue? Man, I don't know. I don't know how well I can do it. At 2a, I think the argument she's making is that the loss of true love is always some of the worst imaginable pain. At 2b, we do have the bird imagery going on. And notice this construction, it's 2 times of what and if. What and if it be, what and if indeed. So she's playing around not only with the construction, but with the sound as well. I love stuff like that. At 3a, well, there's been a number of scholars who have looked at this poem that has said, it's possible that Emily knew her Aristotle. And Aristotle, in a famous passage, wrote about life without loving someone being useless. But at the same time, love, Aristotle argues, will mean the possible pain of loss. And of course, we immediately think of St. Augustine and the loss in Confessions of his closest pal. We've commented a number of times already on that one. It's possible that Emily knew both of those. Think about the power of the novel Moby Dick, Melville's Moby Dick, and the fact that the coffin in the end, in the final scene, is going to be the way that Ishmael will survive. That I find fascinating because she uses the word coffin here. Finally, at 3b, what was a time that you had to live with the possibility of the loss of a close pal? And how did you find yourself doing that? It's maybe possible that this poem will help you get through an experience like that. Thank you.